Hi guys, welcome back. This is episode 2 of After Dark. I'm here with my beautiful and amazing wife. She's joining me on this episode 2. We're gonna have a good conversation. We're gonna have a good time. How's it going, babe?
Hello.
What's up? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you? I'm tired.
doing great. We've had a really fun day today, so
Very long day.
yeah, definitely a long
But
day.
fun.
I'm tired a little bit, but here we are, having a good time. Hopefully we can get a good conversation going. We always have good convos, so it should be a good one.
Cheers.
Cheers.
What are you drinking?
Carbonated water.
That's... Are you for real?
Yeah, Topo Chico.
Híjoles. Okay.
Híjoles.
Well, I'm drinking wine, just in case you were wondering.
All right, good stuff. Hey, do you, girl? Do you? All right, so I guess let's talk a little bit about how about we talk a little bit about how our journey started together. Talk about a little bit how it all started. You know, our relationship and the beginning of everything, really, how it happened with between you and me. I guess let me probe you a little bit here. What is like your earliest memory of me, the first time that you like first laid eyes on me, basically, that you remember like anything about me? Go ahead.
It was my 15th birthday outside of church. So that's how we met each other.
You were 15 at the
Yes.
time. Okay. All right. And then you said you met me outside of church.
Yeah, it was
So that
my
means
15th
what?
birthday.
It was who?
It was my 15th birthday. And I remember I left.
Una quinceañera?
No, I didn't have a quinceañera. It might have been my 16th, actually. Well, 15th or 16th, I don't remember.
All right.
But I remember getting up from the middle of the service and answering a phone call because somebody called me to wish me a happy birthday.
This is taking place at church.
Yes.
So it was like a church service.
It was a Sunday.
Okay.
Yes.
Sunday specifically.
Yes.
Okay. It was a Sunday, and your first thing is that you're taking a call at this point. You're
Yes.
walking away from the
I
service.
left the service. I walked out.
Okay.
I don't remember who it was, but it might have been my dad or somebody from Guatemala. But that's why I took
okay.
the call. And then
You don't remember the conversation that you had that
no,
day?
I have no idea.
You just know that it was a call at this point.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then I
cool.
remember I walked out and you were with a tall guy, which I don't know his name.
I think that was Norman. Shout out to Norman if he's listening. Was it Norman?
I don't know. No, Norman is the guy with the long hair, right?
Yeah,
no,
at the time he had long hair, yes.
It was a different dude, but he was also tall. Skinny.
I don't remember.
Whatever. Well, you had like this bald head, like literally shaved.
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
haircut was
Excuse me, I had this
short.
like military cut, right?
Yeah.
Like specifically it was a 2, a 0, and a blade. So it
2,
was
0, and a
it was a
blade.
high fade, definitely.
Yeah. So you were walking with extra large shorts and extra large shirts that literally did not fit you.
My wife and I are the same age, by the way. let me just point that out. So I'm wearing like baggy clothes. Is what
Yeah,
you're
like
saying.
you bought it at the men's section, but you were still a kid then. So.
The men's section. You're so funny. You got jokes today. Okay.
But yeah, so I was like, man, he's kind of cute, you know? And
And then you just instantly fell in love, basically. Is what you're
no, I mean, I didn't instantly fall in
Amor a
love.
primera vista.
No, tampoco. But it was definitely like, you know, shocking. Because it was like, you know, you obviously, again, nothing, this is just us talking, right? But you were very, like, ¿cómo se dice? Como bien,
Híjoles.
como bien gangbanger.
What?
Like your appearance was
Okay.
very like
thuggish, basically.
very thuggish.
Okay, yeah.
yes.
I do remember a period of my life where that was the
And
thing,
that's when
for
I
sure,
think when I
for
met
sure.
you, yeah. So it was like, I would have never dated anyone like that, but damn, I like, I like that. I was like,
You were
okay,
like, oh my god,
cute.
this guy.
He knows the streets.
Right. Yeah,
Just
definitely.
kidding. But yeah, that's what I remember. That's like the first time that I remember seeing you.
Seeing me. And now from that moment, when did you like, when do you remember when like I first made a move, when I first talked to you? Like, what was the next? That was like your first interaction. You saw me at that point.
Yes. So I think it was at somebody's wedding.
So it wasn't that Sunday that we spoke, right?
No, we didn't speak until like, I want to say like late the summer.
Right.
Yeah, because like my birthday.
I mean, I know, but I'm just like, for those that don't know, like I'm just trying to probe your story, and so they kind of get a little bit of understanding what happened.
Sorry, I'm watching my daughter.
You remember seeing me. Now I'm asking you, like, when was the next time that we interacted? But this is more just a visual, like eye-to-eye thing. When did I make a move, or do you remember me talking to you? Like, how did I make the approach? Like, what happened?
So the next time I remember talking to you was at somebody's wedding. I think it was Jenny, and I forgot the guy's name, but Jenny's wedding. And
Chalks.
Yes. Yes. Jesus, right?
Jesus, yes.
Yeah, okay. Shout out to them too.
Let's go, guys.
But I remember that you talked to me at the taco line because they had tacos, and you were like, what's up? And I was like, oh my god, he said what's up. Like the thuggish sup, like not even like, hey, like it's just, I don't know.
And here we go. Let's start to something beautiful.
And then after that, I think we didn't talk again for a while. And then you had somebody asked me for my phone number, and I gave you my house phone number because I didn't have a cell phone. Crazy, huh?
So I mean, at this time you're 15, 16. I guess it wasn't too weird for us at the time to not have a cell phone. So maybe not. I mean, kids these days like
have cell phones.
You have cell phones at like age 11. So back then it was like a thing where you couldn't have a cell phone until like maybe you were like in high school.
So I had a cell phone, but it was like I had to share it with my sisters. So we had it for certain days or certain, I don't know. I really don't remember how it worked, but I do remember that it was one cell phone and we just kind of had to share it. And then my sisters most of the time just wanted to play the games or whatever. And it was like one of those flip phones, which, So then I also started calling back to like my family back in Guate a lot, and then my mom took my cell phone away and she was like, you can't have a phone, the bill is too hot. So whatever, I just had to settle down with the house phone. And at the time my grandma was living with us, and you would call and she wouldn't pass the phone call. Like, she would hang up.
Like, este muchacho otra vez, right? Type of situation.
Yeah. And she's like, es que es un ganguero.
I promise you I wasn't, guys. Like, no, it's just...
He looked like one, though.
It was just a look,
He did look like one. And it was like, I guess it was just the haircut and the extra baggy, large clothes.
I was always clean cut, though. I will say, it wasn't one of those, like,
every 2 weeks.
Messy situations. I was always clean cut.
Yeah. So
fresh clothes, fresh pair of Air Force Ones.
Oh my god. I don't know, I just remember your baggy clothes.
Yeah, of course. So then at this party I said what's up, and then that's when I asked you for your phone number.
No, I think it was like the
through
weekend
a friend,
after
said, right? Like
that you asked somebody from church that I didn't know, because I also didn't really talk to anyone at church. Like, I would just go to the service, but I wouldn't go to like the youth program or anything like that. I was never involved.
You were kind of invited at this like early stage. I was already like involved a little bit more. right? I think at this time, but I'm also myself getting engaged and really developing, you know, myself in the church environment. So, if I may, I'm gonna add my piece to that whole story. I remember the first time that I saw you, it was at church, right? So like that's that same day that you noticed me. Later on, we found out that we noticed each other. Because I don't think we locked eyes. I think we maybe like had seen each other at different times at church where we did look at each other, I think. Or no, that was after. We were locking eyes a lot more. But anyway, that first time I noticed when you took the call, because I remember you going down the aisle and like taking your call like early on. Normally people would wait to take a call like once they're outside and stuff. She was already like flip, like, you know, cell phone out, like taking a call like half down the aisle as the preacher is like delivering the sermon, you know.
goodness.
So it was
like,
pretty funny to
"Hello?"
me. So it was really hard to like not notice her. And then I'm sitting next to Diego for sure. I remember that clearly. And then the other person that I don't remember if he was there or not was Richard. So
Wasn't there somebody named Ernie?
yeah, Ernie.
I think that's why I saw you with.
Gotcha. I don't remember. So Richard and Ernie. I don't know if I was sitting next to them, but shout out to the guys, by the way. I don't know that I was next to them, but I do remember for sure being next to Diego because, to my next point, I mentioned to him, I'm like, man, that's like a really beautiful looking girl. Like, man, I want to talk to her. I want to say something, you know. So I remember making like, you know, vague comments like that about her, and sure enough, like, I'm like, man, have you seen her before? Like what's up, you know, like, let me get the info. Again, I'm not really developed and I don't know everybody at this point, but you know, I'm just asking, you know, do you know anything? And they're like, oh no, must be new, I don't know.
They didn't know nothing about me because, you know, I was not involved. Like I said, I would literally go sit next to my mom.
Yeah.
And out the door. I was never involved until we started talking. Then I started going to like
youth. And so I remember that party too.
Yeah.
That's when when I said hi. I'm like, to my surprise, I'm like, oh, what a small world. I didn't know that you like knew Jenny and Chalk like that. And so sure enough, like later
my
on,
mom did, right? My
yeah.
mom
So through
did.
your mom and everybody else, I was like, okay, that's cool. You know, I thought it was just one of those situations where you were just going to church and you were just going to church and you were just like, to them. Sorry, I bumped the mic. I'm addressing them, you know, like they exist, you know, let's acknowledge them.
Sorry guys, I forgot you guys were watching.
So yeah, I remember saying hi to you and just being shocked. I really, really shocked. Like I never saw it a possibility, because at this point I know that you're just visiting and it's like a rare occurrence. It's not like consecutively every Sunday that you're showing up. It's like here and there. And I'm like, to my surprise, I was like, oh wow, like that's cool. She showed up. So I'm gonna cross paths purposefully. I did that on purpose. Like I saw her going to the line and I made line to try to like create that scenario.
Good.
What?
The tacos were good.
Yeah, they're really good. Create that like path, that situation where we're gonna talk. And so I said hi.
That's so funny.
But I didn't, you know, I was like, man, this is not the place and time to like ask her out or whatever, or ask for her phone number. So I just like left it at that. I'm like, I'm gonna cross paths with her again. I was confident. I knew like 100% I was gonna talk to her again. So, but then again, you know, fast forwarding a little bit to the whole summer thing, you know, she wasn't there for a while. So I'm like, man, did I miss my shot? Did I miss my chance?
Yeah, because I would go spend summers in Guate.
Yeah, so like I'm like, man, did I miss my chance, my shot, or what? So like she came around again, and I'm like, man, I don't want to like lose my shot, but I don't want to, you know, I don't want to look thirsty and this and that. And then during this time period, like there's groups, and it's weird if like, again, church environment, it's weird if like a guy is like straight up just talking to a girl and this and that. So I'm like, man, I'm maneuvering, I'm making something happen, right? So like I asked one of my friends to ask you for your phone number, like just make it casually, because I also didn't want to get her in trouble. I didn't want to start something like them get the wrong idea about church or whatever. So I wanted to try to be respectful in every way I could. And then so, you know, when it came down to the whole like meeting her and meeting like family or whatever, like I could always introduce myself. Like I'm you know, my parents taught me well. I was ready to be like cordial and respectful and introduce myself. That my appearance didn't really mean anything, right? But it didn't happen that way. So yeah, so I got your phone number, we started talking, and that like hit off really well. And I'm gonna let you talk a little bit about this, but let's talk about your grandma a little bit. Let's talk about how, when I'm calling you and these phone calls, like, how is your grandma reacting to my calls? Because your mom seemed to be okay at some point with my calls. I even talked to her one time. But your grandma, even though I had talked to her, she carried a specific, like, you know, energy towards me. So
I think it's, please. You know, I guess it's very unfortunate because, and I say unfortunate because till this day, she still judges people by the way that they look without really getting to know them and stuff, you know? Like,
yeah, I think a lot of people do that.
Yeah, and I think it's a culture thing. Like us, we're very used to, like, you know, if that person doesn't look a certain way, you don't talk to them, or, you know, it was
that seems to be very popular in like Hispanic communities, you know, like, oh, se viste de cierta manera, oh, se ve de esta manera, or color of their skin, unfortunately, you know, like another thing that drives us a little bit nuts. We've talked about this many times, and so things that we as part of the Hispanic community, we're trying to change that, right. But you know, we recognize it and acknowledge that it's a trend and it's a problem,
and it's a very huge problem in our. And it's so close to home, right? Like my grandma. And, you know, I was so little. I was 16, fresh out the plane, to understand that. But now I look back at it and I'm like, oh my God, she was literally judging you just by the way that you look. Like, she didn't even give you a chance
and here
to
I
talk.
was like, I even told her, well, again, speak on how she reacted towards me, and then I'll speak like a little bit more about that.
So, yeah, she just didn't like him because of the way that he dressed. A lot of it had to do also because you were, I think part of it for a while, it was because it was like, you're Mexican, right? And,
oh, wow. This is news to me.
Yeah.
This is breaking news right now. This is something
She's like,
I'm
¿Cómo vas a andar con un mexicano?
Damn.
I was like, dude,
I did not know this.
Yeah. It was very crazy for her.
She's my wife, by the way. We've been married. I've been knowing her for a long time. I'm just barely finding this out today on this episode.
Again, it's my grandma. It sucks.
No, but it's a common thing, though, for sure.
And it's very common. But thankfully, we've been able to kind of teach her and talk to her a little bit about it. But she's so old school that, you know, not much has changed, right? Like, obviously, she loves you now and she accepts you and stuff.
My relationship with her is different today. I mean, she like loves me and like you know, she takes care of me, and it's like very attentive to like you know, she's really nice, you know, but there's certain habits that obviously are a little bit hard to break from. So
but yeah, she didn't like you.
Yeah, she like so she would like, I would call, and you know, I would respectfully, because again, shout out to my mom, she taught me well, she taught me manners, like always to be cordial and respectful, no matter, you know, to your elders and things like that, right? So I told her, I'm like, I'll talk to her. I'll like let her know like who I am and where I come from and all the specifics, you know. Yeah. But she wanted no part in it. I would call and I would say, you know, like, buenas tardes, buenas noches, se encuentra Josselyn, yo quiero hablar con ella, si me permite unos minutos, or whatever, you know. Always calling early, never past 8 or 9 p.m. Like, again, being extremely respectful. And she would straight up say like, no, or ya no estás llamando, and she would hang up on me. And I would be like, what? Why? Like, again, I mean, at this point it's strictly an appearance thing, because, you know, I'm like nice to her, you know. And
then things, obviously, she left, she went back to Guate, like,
and that whole thing changed.
And then everything changed, obviously, because my mom has always been very open with us about, you know, relationships, and she's always been really good at giving us that opportunity and that trust to have a relationship, as long as we are being honest with her, being smart about it, and also she wants to know who we're with. So it was always those like 3 conditions, like, I don't want you to go behind my back or anything like that. Like, I want to know who he is, I want to know his family. And, you know, at that point, then we started dating, and it was
right. It
easier
became a thing, and
right.
obviously, like I had a relationship with your family,
Right.
and
And then
your uncles. I feel like that obviously helped, because then she came back, and then she came to this new world where essentially everybody loved me, and we were good, and had a relationship. So like, she had really no other option but to like really get to know me, because I don't want to say that she loved me or cared anything about me because her family was okay with me. I think she at that point was forced. Honestly, she was forced to really get to know me, and so then she realized that I'm not that bad of a guy.
Right. And she realized that you don't judge people by the way that they look or how they sound or how they dress. Like definitely. Everybody has its own like story, right?
Definitely. So, and you'd be surprised, like even though they're you might be from different places, different regions, your story might be like different, but there's a lot of similarities. Like we all have the same struggles, we all come from like sometimes nothing, and so on and so forth, right? Like there's a lot of similarities there, and we'll touch a little bit on that and culture and stuff in a little bit. But so this relationship happened, and so fast forward, here we are today.
Now we're here.
Let's touch base. Let's kind of like from the fast forward situation, let's like start off from 2020,
okay,
when everything kind of just,
so I guess,
kicked off for us.
We dated for 5 years, right? And then we broke up for like 4 or 5.
Like 4, something
right
like that.
Right after high school. And then we both went, we went to college, we did our own thing, and it just got hard for us to kind of meet in the same.
There was a difference.
There's a lot of differences.
We had some differences, and me personally, I just felt like I had to do some growing up. I had to mature a little bit more. I felt like I was mature towards like certain things, but not others, and so I just had to do some growing up. I needed some growth in my life, and so anyway, fast forward, we had our differences. We kind of drifted apart for a little bit, but then I'm a huge believer that once you're meant to be with once you're meant to be with somebody, like those paths will cross again, inevitably, it's gonna happen. So sure enough, they did. We started talking again, started hanging out. I think our families didn't know about it for a while.
No. I mean, it was 2020. I think I don't know. I mean, so I moved out right at like 23, and then it was crazy because we never crossed paths for those 4
which is strange, because we did have some friends in common, and then we were later came to find out that we were
like visiting the same places
and hanging out in like areas where
we
were supposed to cross paths, but we didn't, which is weird.
So we never did. And then 2020 came around, and I think it was like at the end of summer. We reconnected at my sister's wedding. Like, I think it was like we had a conversation
during that time period.
So
that's kind of like the marker where your sister was getting married, and so from there on we started hanging out here and there. And then this whole journey has been really interesting during the pandemic, because we got together, and then Liza came about.
It wasn't 2020, it was 2019.
No, I know, but I'm just strictly talking about the 2020.
Okay.
Like, I don't want to go, I don't know, we can if you want, but I'm just like fast forwarding to 2020, and the how it's been like the last year of things, and just like Eliza and pandemic and trying to figure things out, and where we are today, basically. It's been a journey, definitely, but it's taught us a lot, I feel like, right?
Sure.
From like when we started to like now, it's interesting to be in this position,
So a lot happened for us really fast. I mean, like I said, we started dating late summer of 2019, and just did like fun, cool stuff, and then I got pregnant, and then we found out
late, by the
very
way.
late, yeah, that I was pregnant. And
Yeah. So also too, like, speaking on pregnancy, don't always believe like all the superstitious like stuff that people say, because you know, we didn't believe in them, but we were still trying stuff like que si te da like heartburn, you know, like that means like your baby's gonna have like a lot of hair or whatever, something like that, right?
Yeah.
And then if you do, like, we did one which one was like the needle thing,
the needle with the circle, or like
but you put the needle on a string or something like that, right?
Yeah, and then
it's
you
supposed to
hang it
like
on the
hang,
belly.
yeah,
Mhm.
on your hand.
I don't know if it's the
Or
hand
your-
or the
or your
belly. I
stomach?
think it was the stomach. The rings was in the stomach.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. We did a bunch of things
So
to try
like
to
to find
figure
out
out
like
the
the
sex of the
sex
baby,
and like all
but
these
it
like
just-
different things, and like honestly, all that's like, I mean, if you get lucky and you do one of those and it lands on like whatever
Honestly,
it's
it was
supposed
like a
to be.
50-50, right? Like we did maybe 4 of them, and 2 of them said boy and 2 of them said girl. So it's just like, okay, it's 50-50. But yeah, so we found out that I was pregnant, and then it was like pandemic, and then we were stuck at home.
Yeah, I mean, we were stuck at home, you know, even before the pandemic. Obviously, we were like on a hard lockdown during the pandemic because we're really not going anywhere. But, you know, at this point, you're pregnant, you're staying home a lot, you're tired a lot.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know,
I
you're
slept a
super
lot.
tired. Yeah, like at the beginning. That's really like the one thing that you felt at first. Like you weren't, I mean, honestly, to me, like your pregnancy was like smooth. Shout out to me though, but
Excuse me.
I'm just
Exactly, you weren't carrying a baby.
no, it's true. I mean, I guess it's just like as far as like making things
Well,
easy for you.
as far
But-
as symptoms,
Yeah, but
I
symptoms
didn't
and stuff,
have a
like, man,
horrible-
I do think like you really had. I would like to say, I mean, you could say more on it or speak on
I
it
think
more.
I was
but
tired.
it was,
I was
like,
always
smooth.
very tired, and I always wanted a nap. And then it got better, and then it got bad again. Like, man, the last month.
At the end, right?
the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
last
Like the
month of
last month was the
pregnancy
toughest for
is
you, for
just-
sure.
It was awful. I was swollen. I was
You had to
uncomfortable.
exercise a lot more
Yeah.
than you were already used to, because we were doing walks and stuff. But you know, at the end, we got you like this, the ball, like the medicine ball, to like do your
And like my
workouts
whole
and stuff.
pregnancy, I wasn't huge, right? I didn't show until I was like 6-7 months. I started showing a belly.
Right.
And then out of nowhere, I'm 36 weeks and my belly just freaking blew up. Like, it was huge. It was uncomfortable. Man, pregnancy is just, you know, it's not a piece of cake.
Right.
And some people are made up for it, and some people are not. And I don't think I was. It's a beautiful thing. It's so empowering. It's crazy how much your body changes and all of that, and like
Man,
how
it's-
you see the changes too. It's
Yeah.
like, it's amazing, right? It's a really beautiful experience, but there's the other side of it that is very, very hard.
Yeah.
Hormones.
I think we'll
attitude.
definitely you know,
All of
maybe take an episode and really speak a little bit more about all that stuff, because it's honestly not really talked about a whole lot. I mean, in all the research that we did during your pregnancy, it was really hard to come by information that like told you how to really like be ready for the mental side of things, because you found endless information of like, you know, like this is how you're supposed to take care of yourself, nutrition, and like, you know, how to prep for the baby, and you know, a little bit about like as a husband mentally too, like how you're supposed to, you know, be ready for that stuff, and how to be the support, and you know, kind of whatever. There's a lot on that like, you know, it's not available out there. And so, you know, I guess it helps for people to hear like your experience, because you know, somebody else might be going through that stuff out there, and you know, some situations, you know, people are like afraid of them or afraid to even speak on it, and you know, they have to know that it's okay, you know.
Yeah. And like, I think again, maybe because of or maybe not, honestly, I never had one person tell me like a negative thing about it, you know.
Right, like
So-
everybody's like, yeah, you just kind of like,
Yeah.
if anything, they tell you, yeah, it's gonna be tough, but you
But
you
it's
just deal with
fine.
it. You just
Yeah,
deal with it, and
right.
like,
Yeah.
then it's beautiful, right? Like,
yeah, like you said, maybe we could definitely go more into it.
let's
I will
do that for sure.
be super down to talk about it, because it's important. I think it's very important to make people aware of it. And I know we hear that word, normalize it, but it really needs to be normalized and talked about, and just
like a lot of other things.
Yeah, like a lot of other things.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so we'll definitely schedule something, because I think that's important to you. It's important to me. So I think there's some things that maybe we haven't even talked about yet. So maybe we can do this, like maybe re-spark that, and you know, get that conversation going. But let's switch gears here a little bit. Let's talk.
Do an ASMR too.
You guys, man, she's been with this setup here, man. She's been wanting to do an ASMR for like a minute, and it's hilarious to me. I find it really cute, but like I start setting up and stuff, and she like immediately like plugs in headphones and stuff and starts doing random things. I'm like,
I'm gonna invite my best friend Itza, if you're watching, and we're gonna do an ASMR.
For sure.
They're so satisfying.
Yeah, they are.
So
they are.
Stay tuned.
So
we're really funny, by the way.
We'll have them do the. I'm not partaking in that. I'll have them do it, and then we'll show you guys. But that's really interesting. They're cool, but
what do you mean they're cool? Oh, ASMRs or me and Itza?
Oh, no, the ASMR.
Oh, okay.
You guys are.
We're definitely cool. Cooler than you, for sure.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. All right, so let's talk a little bit about like culture. Something that I wanted to talk about, and some of this stuff might be a little bit funny. So interesting, right? So like my wife here is Guatemalan, right? She said that like 100 times already. I'm Mexican, right? I was born here. To give you my story, so I was born here, but I lived in Mexico for several years. Like, I mean, like my childhood was over there, you know, so I went over there early on, came back, and I'm here now. So, right. So for my wife, she was born in Guatemala. So 100%, you know, Guatemalan.
Born and raised.
And then she came over here at like 13, something like that. Yeah. And so she hasn't left since, you know, especially because I'm here. So
no, I mean, I've left. I've visited my country before, but
yeah, like vacations and stuff. But it's not the same. It's not the same.
Remember when you were like, "Oh, are you from whatever?"
Oh
like,
my god, I was really hoping you were not gonna bring this up.
He asked me if, basically, like low key, he's like, "Oh, have you been back to Guatemala before?" And I was like, yeah. And then he's like, how? I'm like, in a plane? Like, how else am I gonna go to Guatemala? Like, it's like miles away from here. And he's like, oh, do you have papers? Do you need papers? I was like, oh, like, hell.
All right, at this point I know you really well.
Yes, at this point we're like
relationship going.
3 ends in there. Yeah, 3.
And honestly, I didn't know how to be like respectful, but like not weird about it. But I wanted to ask her like, oh, like do you have papers? You know, so like I started with the conversation of like, oh, you go back and forth, right?
Yes.
Like, how do you do it?
Thankfully, I do have papers. I came here with papers. Oh, thank God, and my mom and her hard work. My sisters and I had that opportunity, but you know, we also recognize the struggle and how hard it is for people that don't. So we, you know, we appreciate that and the opportunities we have here for sure.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
Yeah, I was like, oh hell no,
wow,
I did not.
That was such a loud car that just passed by. Sorry, guys.
I think it was a motorcycle.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
I don't know what it was. I just heard it.
Anyway, but yeah, that was very mean of you to ask.
It wasn't mean.
And you shouldn't ask that. Oh. You just shouldn't ask that, period.
What?
I don't think you should ask that.
Okay.
I think that's going to be shared when you're comfortable with someone.
At that point, you know, I just wanted. It was just, you know, I'm a kid. I'm asking like really simple, like,
yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Service questions.
You are a kid, and that should have been thought to you that you don't ask that, right? Like, I don't want Eliza to go around asking about those things because that doesn't matter.
All right, let's just pass that. It's already done. It
just
was
don't ask that again.
Yeah, it was a
funny thing then, but that shouldn't be asked. Kids, don't ask that to your girlfriends and your boyfriends. That doesn't matter.
Yeah, don't ask that. Let her tell you. So speaking about different cultures and I guess just specifically like our differences, you know, from where we come from.
Words, man. Words.
What's the one thing that stands out? It was gonna be my question, that like you think really is hard to, or that stands out as differences or makes it sometimes like complicated to maybe understand each other and things like that.
I don't think it's complicated, but I think it's sometimes it's funny. But the food obviously is like a one thing that we call different. Like my dish might be called something, but then it's something different. That's for
true.
You.
That's true. A lot of dishes, a lot of like,
yeah.
I've heard your grandma like mention or call out certain vegetables, and then it's like, oh, you guys know them as this, but it's called this or whatever. Like we know them as that.
And also like words, just words in general, that are very different, and he's like, what did you say? What is that? And it's funny because it's like, how do you not know this? But then also like, what do you call that? Like chamarras, what do you call them? Cobijas. Like,
so yeah, I mean it's like, to my point, right? Like what's different or what makes it like a little bit hard to understand each other? Like, do we have that problem? Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like evident because
I don't think it's a problem, but it's,
well, yeah, I mean because I guess it's a problem. It's hard to understand each other sometimes, like,
but
not in a negative way. It's just like when you're like, so for example, like chamarra, the cobija, like, oh, like pásame la cobija.
I think it's fun, and I think it's
for sure
educational.
Yeah, I love it. I love every little bit
because I get to learn and he gets to learn. So I don't see it as a problem. Sometimes, I mean, maybe it might be a problem down the line when we try to teach Eliza Spanish, right. But I think,
I guess like my point was like, maybe I said it wrong. It didn't have like a negative connotation towards it.
Okay.
Like it was just kind of like makes it like a little hard sometimes to like, again, like, oh, pásame la cobija, and it's like, oh wait, what? It's oh, chamarra, sorry, like I meant, like I have to. It's funny because, you know, I have to translate things sometimes in Spanish.
I mean,
now
I understand.
You would think
right?
that, like, well, of course, at this point, yeah, we do, right? But you would think that sometimes it would just be as easy as that, but it's not. So, I don't know. I personally like love hearing like how different words, and now I've gotten to the point where I'm like curious, like, oh, like this candle. Do you guys call it something different? You know, do you guys call it something else? Or I'll pick certain things and I'll be like, just in case, like I'm already assuming that they call it something else, so I'm like, oh, well, what do you guys call that, you know? And I love hearing it. I ask her a few times, like right now what she was saying, she's like, he be asking me this and that, and it's like sometimes I just do it because I find it really cute, you know. I find it really cute when she says certain things in a certain way, because honestly, like, you know, that's different to me because I didn't grow up with that, you know. My Spanish is different than hers. And so you would think that just because you know Spanish, you're able to communicate really well. And yeah, I mean, for the most part, yeah. But then there's a lot of stuff that's like different.
Spanish is such a broad language.
There's different like lingos to it.
Yeah, the accents, the way that you say things, just everything really from every single country is just so different. It's a beautiful language.
For sure. All right, let's go through the list of a few common like day-to-day stuff that you call different. Like, okay, so Eliza, right? What do you guys call the thing to what we call mamilas, right? What do you guys call it?
Oh, la pacha.
Pacha. See what I'm saying? Like that was different to me. So whenever she like was said like, oh, let me have the pacha, I was like, what? What do you mean? There's some that she like pulls out like straight out of her like a hat, dude. Like she does it on purpose too, by the way. Like we'd be watching TV and then she'll like say like a line or something. I'm like, wait, what the heck did you just say? Like I'd be like laughing, but she does it on purpose at this point. Like she'd be switching it up on me hard. So like bacha, right, is one of them. Cobija, like you know, like una cobija.
Una chamarra. For you, chamarra. Chamarra for us is the cobija. Chamarra for you is the jacket.
Yeah, exactly.
And
so the jacket.
Jacket for us is chumpa. So
you see what I'm saying? Like they call it really, like it's different. Yeah. All right. So what's another one? What's another common thing? Like at this point, I could just start naming different things around the house, and I know that you're gonna start calling it something else. So like, really, just start going down the list of things.
I don't know. I mean, you have to tell me. Like what?
Oh, okay. So like
Like, what do you say? Gorro or gorra?
Gorra, yeah.
But what do you call it?
Don't
you call it cachucha?
Oh yeah, cachuchas. Yes, cachuchas.
Right. Okay. So for us, it's gorro or gorra. Gorro is for winter.
Gorro's for winter for us.
Okay. Y gorra is that
Gorra
what
is
you're
this,
wearing, right?
Or
yeah.
cachucha, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, really.
Now we can't think of anything.
Yeah, I know, right? Now that like, and it's like everything, dude. Like honestly, there's a lot of.
It's like
every little
foods,
thing
too.
that's like different sometimes.
Yeah. So like the foods, I guess it's also a big thing because my mom the other day said she brought mole, and then I was like, oh babe, there's mole.
Yeah.
And
mole.
then he was like, oh, okay, but he was very dismissive about it, right?
Because at this point I know what their mole is, so
right. But no, but you didn't know.
Yeah, this last time I did. I mean, I already did, because remember that one last time. Anyway, recently,
okay,
I didn't know.
But the first time,
Yes, the
right,
first
so
time I didn't know. I was
time.
thrown off. I'm
so
like,
he was like, oh, okay, whatever. And I was like, he was like very dismissive about it, and he said he didn't want any.
because I really don't like even the Mexican mole. So I know I'm gonna get a lot of like hate from you guys because of that. Because
I don't
I'm
like it
Mexican.
either. You know, I don't know how you guys put chicken and chocolate together. That just doesn't go.
Well, it's like chicken and like a spice, right? I think.
And
I don't know.
chocolate. Somebody
True.
puts chocolate on it. I didn't like it. But our mole is plantains.
It's like a dessert, basically.
Right, it's a dessert. And it's really good. And then he thought when I said mole that it was the chicken one. But I was like, no.
Hell no.
He did not want
that.
it.
I'm good.
So little things like that, it's like they're very, very different. And
Yeah.
then they might have the same name, but it's like complete opposite. Our mole
sometimes
doesn't
it's the
have
same,
chicken.
like word,
Right.
but it's like completely different meaning. So that at first was a little bit of a thing for us too, because it was like, damn, like, you know, a lot of things are different, and it's like sometimes it's easy to get the point across when you're speaking Spanish, so we'll just end up like saying something in English, right? So but one thing, props to us, we like teach each other. Like we don't just like, oh, switch it to English so you understand me. It's like, oh, this is what, like, we speak on it, and we try to understand like what is what. But
I mean, we do have a daughter that it's gonna have to learn both lingos because
for sure.
You know,
She's gonna
her
learn both
grandma's,
things.
she has a Mexican grandma and a Guatemalan grandma
Yeah.
that both speak Spanish.
So now let me ask you, do you find yourself switching words on purpose so that I understand sometimes? Or at this point you keep like, you know, using your words?
No, I think I've always just spoke to you in Spanish how I speak in Spanish.
That's true. But even if you do speak, because, you know, she has her accent and she has like her lingo and stuff, but do you find sometimes switching different, like for example, like you'll find yourself switching that word
No.
to like help me understand? Or, you know, at this point I know, but would you do it for somebody else?
Yes. That's, I think I have had to kind of, because I guess there's something crazy happened to me, kind of embarrassing too, that's the reason why I kind of change it. And
is this the bread story?
Yes.
Oh my god, yes. Please do tell the story. Yes.
I was so fresh out the plane. I was 13, 14, and my mom took us to Cicero. I think it's like Cicero, Chicago. I don't remember.
Cicero, probably.
Yeah, Cicero, right?
Yeah.
She took us to a panaderia. And then she's like, oh, bajate, vas a traer pirujos. And then at that point, I was like, okay, like, fine. Like, me voy a bajar y voy a comprar pirujos. Right. So I got out of the car, go into the panaderia, and then I go, and I couldn't find them, right? I just didn't see them and like the racks of bread. So then I go up to the lady and I was like, oh, buenas tardes, señora. ¿Usted sabe dónde están los pirujos? And she opened her eyes so wide and so like she was so in shock, right? And then I was like,
little girl.
Yeah, I was again, I was very little.
Yeah.
And she's like, what? ¿Qué, mija? ¿Qué quieres? It's like, pirujos, ¿dónde están? ¿Usted sabe no tienen pirujos? ¿O dónde están los pirujos? And then she called somebody from the back and was like, esta niña está pidiendo algo y yo no sé qué es. And then I asked the guy, it's like, ¿venden pirujos o no venden pirujos? And then he was like, ¿qué es lo que estás buscando? Hasta que el pan largo así de pirujo, como un pan, we call it francés, right? French bread. And then he's like, oh, los bolillos. And then I was like, pirujo. And it like looked at him again, and I was like, no, estoy buscando el pirujo. And then he brings it out, and I was like, yeah, that's the one. And then he's like, mira, mija, no andes pidiendo pirujos porque te van a traer unos putos. And I was like, I literally looked at him and I was like, what? Like, I was so in shock. I grabbed my bag of pirujos and went to the car. And I was like, Mom, I was like, me dijeron que me iban a dar unos putos. And I was like, and she said, my mom was like, oh my God, se me olvidó decirte que aquí no se llaman pirujos, se llaman bolillos.
Your mom set you up.
She set me up for failure. Set you up, so ever since then, I do find myself trying to like match it, because I was so little and I was embarrassed. I was very embarrassed.
I mean, you're put in that situation and you had this older guy telling you like, hey, don't be asking for that stuff because it means something else. Like, that's embarrassing, right?
Yeah, so
for other people you do that basically, but at home, I mean, I know like you speak, I mean, you're around like your grandma and your family a lot, so you know. No, like,
I do speak. I mean, obviously if I know that it's a word that they're not like popote, and if I ask you for a pajilla and like they don't understand, it's, you know, it's gonna be a mess, so they're gonna try to figure it out. But thankfully I also like had roommates who were, you know, Colombian, Venezuelan, Mexican, so I also learned pitillo, popote, like their little words as well. So it was, you know, it's, now I'm cultured. But yeah, that was a very embarrassing time, and it took that for me to kind of just change things up when I speak Spanish to other people.
And there's even things sometimes that you're like, oh, like what? Explain that to me, because there's like some slang stuff too that you're like, what? And same with you. There's some slang things, even though it's not like a direct translation. I'm like, what? And it sounds funny. Like, I'll just laugh, you know, because it sounds funny. I'm like, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
So we help each other a lot with that.
Crazy.
Which is cool though. But that's also like interesting for Eliza though. She's gonna be able to like learn both sides, and she's gonna be able to like really understand. And like, I don't know. That to me is like really interesting. Just clashing two different worlds, you know. Spanish speaking worlds, like it's interesting to me, you know. And obviously she's gonna learn, you know English and stuff too. But so as far as like dishes go, like do you think that you guys like Guatemalan people cook with spice or without spice?
Oh, we do not eat spicy. No. Right. I learned and fell in love with spice here, and because of you, really, because like Mexican food is so good, and you know, the tacos.
She asked me for just
all of it.
She asked for Mexican food like at least every other
los chilaquiles, el guisado, la carne en su jugo. Oh my God, all of that.
I don't like carne en su jugo, but I understand.
Frijoles, charros, frijoles frito, like all of that. It's just so good. So we don't cook with spice. Also, I love my Guatemalan dishes. Right. You know, like las hilachas, las dobladas, all of that.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's not spicy. No, absolutely not spicy.
Yeah, I find myself like missing my chile a little bit when you know there's a lot of like Guatemalan food.
I've tried to learn how to cook spicy.
She does a really good job at that though. Like, she makes her dishes, Guatemalan dishes, and throws a little kick to it, because she's learned to like that, and for me as well, because I like it with a little. I don't like it when food is spicy to beyond like you like beyond the point where you can't taste it anymore. Right. Like, you're hot and your nose is going like, you know, and it's like
my sister, you know?
Though, yeah, Carla, I know her sister is crazy with that though.
Oh my God, she literally enjoys that painfulness.
Like, it's a pleasure, like
crazy.
Like, she enjoys food or whatever, you know, even better at that point, because it's like spicy and her tongue is like burning. I'm like, dude, you're not even tasting food at that point. Like, how is that good?
She's crazy for that. She eats habaneros and chile de árbol like it's nobody's business. It's crazy. I don't know how she does that, but
yeah, props to people that do that. My dad is one of them, where, you know, like they'll, like a lot of Mexican people, right, like they'll have like a really spicy habanero or jalapeno, and, you know, grilled or whatever, really spicy, and they'll like take a, you know, a really good bite out of it, full lip, contact and everything. Oh my god, dude! Like,
Didn't your
I
sister
don't know how you
used
guys
to
do that.
eat those that crazy spicy wings from Buffalo Wild Wings too?
My sister, right?
Right?
Yeah, they have another ones, right?
I don't know, the last
super, like,
the challenge
hot ones. Yeah, I don't know, man.
How?
That's wild, dude. That's too much. That's too much. I can't do that.
No, that's crazy.
So I like a little spice. I don't like it when food doesn't have no spice. You know, occasionally
but
it's good.
you know, also like Asian food is very spicy on its own.
In a different way, though.
Yes,
for sure.
And
for
that
sure.
spicy is actually really good.
Yeah, I know. It's good.
Yes,
It's good.
And that I could take a little bit more. But what I can't do is Indian spice.
Oh no, dude, that's a little bit too much.
Just nope.
That's like you put something in your mouth sometimes, and it's like weird, right? Like it just instantly starts like burning, right? Like it's weird. Yeah, I don't know.
But
obviously, like every culture has their own thing.
Their own
I'm not
spice.
bashing. We're not bashing.
No,
but
no,
it's just
no.
like it's just different.
And we
right?
enjoy
like
eating
spices.
really all the foods and just trying new things.
Yeah, for sure.
We love food.
We like mixing. I like how sometimes, or we like doing like, you know, mixing culture. Sometimes we'll do a guisado with something that you guys are, you know, that you guys make, or vice versa, or you know, it might be this, and again, just throw a little bit of spice on there, or whatever the case. We like trying different things. It's like, it's our thing for sure.
Yeah.
Foodies.
For sure.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. I think it's gonna be cool for Eliza to grow up in that world of like, I don't know, just to think that for Eliza, like I put myself like looking at myself in retrospect, and I'm like looking at like her life and thinking that, you know, I'm not gonna grow, or she's not gonna grow up just knowing just Mexican stuff. You know, she's not gonna grow up just knowing Guatemalan stuff. She's gonna be a mix of things, and obviously that also has to do with parents and like how, you know, you have your kids like try different things too. But you know, at least she's gonna be in two different worlds at once, I guess. That's interesting to me, at least.
Yeah, I think it's cool. You know, just appreciating and knowing and, you know, seeing the difference in other cultures is such a beautiful thing, because we're not all the same.
Do you think, speaking on that, do you think that although different regions, different places in the world, different countries, do you think we have a lot of similarities?
Yeah. The main one is being a human being. You know, just being a person. And sometimes we forget about that, right? And then we think that we're so different, but we're not. I mean, everyone's literally the same person. And of course, culture and food and language and all of that changes, but it's good to, I think coming here for me was such an eye-opener, because over there it was just like one thing, right? And I lived in this bubble where I didn't know more than that.
The US is like, it's beautiful because you can really be with different cultures every day, you know, different people from different parts of the world, and that's really cool. It's a cool experience.
It's for sure. A very, you know, obviously the political and racial problems we're currently having are very unfortunate and so sad that we cannot just accept it, because it would just all be a better place, really. We all have something to bring to the table, and I think for us, like, you're Mexican, I'm Guatemalan, and just that, we're Hispanic, but we find so much difference.
Like, even in that, like, I mean, take your grandma for example, right? Like, a lot of people find division in even that,
and even that,
that's tough for sure.
Like, you're a parent,
or if you're like, even if you're Hispanic, let me talk on a different topic now. Like, what if you're Hispanic, but then now your skin tone is different?
Oh my god!
Like, that's the thing, right?
Oh my
like,
god, yeah.
Now all of a sudden you're seeing different. Right? And that's
very
crazy how like that's like that carries through like everywhere,
and
right?
It's so sad, you know. Like, my grandma used to tell me about Eliza, right? She would come over here and she would be like, oh my god, she's,
and we're not bashing her grandma, but
no, I love my grandma, but we use her as an example because of how
where you come
old
from,
school she is, and how little of knowledge she knows about everything. We're 2021, right? We would expect people to be more open about things and see things differently, but she doesn't. Like, for example, my daughter, right? would tell my daughter, like, ay, Eliza, estás bien bonita, like, you're so beautiful because of the color of your skin, because it's white, because of your hair is kind of, and
Yeah.
I think also your family also kind of said something like that, right? Like something along those lines. And it's just like, no, my daughter is beautiful because she is beautiful, but it has nothing to do with the color of her skin. It has nothing to do with the color of her hair. And it's so sad that we're creating division and that, even being Hispanics,
right.
you know,
and it's like and it's our like chance and opportunity to like
to
change
talk
that.
about
So,
it,
like,
to call it out, and to speak on it. For sure. Yeah, I mean, we could go on and on about talking about all of those issues that we're currently having and we're living through, and how it really, the change starts with us. And it doesn't start with like, oh, I don't see color, or I don't do, no, it starts with appreciating it, you know. And just here in my household, I have a Mexican American who wants to teach me about it, and I'm Guatemalan and I want to teach him about it. And why not bring it all to the table, you know? I think, again, it's such a beautiful thing to appreciate it.
Right. It's cool when you can just like, you know, again, just because it did happen here that we met each other, like this is a place where it could happen, basically. So
yeah. Well, the camera's gone.
Sorry, guys.
Somebody forgot to charge it.
I kind of did a hard shut here. It looks like we're done for today.
But we could continue talking about all of those. You know, I think we're both we have a lot to say. And when we have these conversations in our couch.
Yeah, Wifey, please come back to another episode. I think it's always fun talking to you. It's good to hear your perspective on things. So
of course, it's always good to hear yours too. Like I said, when we have these conversations on our couch, just me and him, we literally go on for hours.
Yeah, and sometimes we like, man, man, we're old people, man. Well, at least I am, and like
this is sleep for us.
Yeah, so like 9 or whatever, 10, we're trying to go to sleep. And when these conversations happen, man, we lose track of time.
We go on for hours.
Que se nos hace tarde. And then they're like, oh my God, babe, we gotta work tomorrow. We gotta stop. We gotta find ourselves like cutting each other, because it's like, all right, let's go. Córtale.
Yeah.
Pasamos.
But yeah, it would be good. And it would be good to, have more guests that are from different cultures.
For sure.
And different areas, just to see, it's always fun and it's always good to see other people's point of views. And I think this is a good place to do it.
Definitely. This is like the perfect outlet. So thank you once again for coming. Thank you for being part of episode 2 of After Dark.
Thank you for having me.
It was a fun time. Love hearing your voice. So beautiful.
Thank you.
So
Stop
amazing.
it. You're making me blush. Thank God the camera's off.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Love you, babe.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.